We are going through the AutoCal sprint progress report. I know this has been sprint 2, but it's been about 2 months, and some significant progress has been made, and a lot of spinning around in Slack, much more spinning than I would like. But it is kind of the way, learning the capabilities of a new interface, and trying to find the best path forward for an MVP. I suppose if I had to go back and do this again, I think I would try to have a stronger designed plan of action, because there was just a lot of spinning around how to interface with Slack and its many options. So we'll go through some of that. Some of the refactoring has been done to the core engine, and yeah. So yeah, let's jump into it. Yeah, AutoCal, rule all the things. So thanks for some folks on Twitch and YouTube for saying hi. I didn't hear you or I didn't see your chats, so I got text to speech running now, so it should read off to me whenever anybody says anything. So hopefully we'll get the next ones. And of course, thank you to the folks around me in my life who are helping me, keep this thing going for a little bit, till either it lands or I land, one of the two. So the old plan was to do this refactoring, which we're going to talk to, get a basic cycle done, and get a basic Slack integration done, stretch goal, crud for the things. Really close to that in its idealized form. It's taken a couple iterations to actually land on the thing that's going to work. And so kind of show you a little bit there. But if you want to actually see the real deal, come visit the stream starting a little bit. And goal, execute the project using the tool. It's a good goal, and it was working for a little bit, but you ran into a snag where I added some features to the tool, as far as like the syntax, but did not implement them as code. So got to catch up with that, but I wanted to leave that as my motivational project for finishing the Slack portion, because once I have an interface for it, it makes much more sense to improve the underlying mechanisms. But if you don't have an interface, then you just to kind of continue to spin wheels on it. So I don't want to spin wheels anymore. I just want to get this thing done. So anyway, execution, we hit the targets mostly. Added some features along the way. The linking refactor was successful. We'll go into that in a moment. It's a good pattern, and we will try to get other stuff into this same kind of concept of links, because it's a nice way to add metadata to a given item, a given activity item. So this is the way it used to work. It had this dependencies namespace within activity that kind of took care of like all the dependency specific things, but that got super brittle super fast, just because you have to maintain all these all these different links to things. Ultimately, that's what it was. It was like, hey, what's downstream of this one? What's upstream of this one? And it just got to be very, very tricky to work with after a while. So this is the new way of doing things. Instead, it's just going to be just a link, and we're just going to have a reference instead of back here in this other one where we're storing all the references to downstream and upstream here, in the activity collections. Instead, we are storing each activity as its own isolated little link, and it seems to be very solid so far. So going to take the same kind of pattern for other things in the future. But yeah, this is how different activities link together for forming like dependency chains and tag relations and stuff like that. So there we go. So the cyclic selection is kind of the core feature of AutoCal that I think is a differentiator between it and any other scheduling software, which is pretty much the ability to determine what contexts and what types of tasks you will be undertaking in relation to each other. So if you want to start the day with a challenging task or an easy task or a fun task, and then switch over to something that is more appropriate for where you're at, it'll help you, select from that series. So it should hopefully, and as it has been playing out, it seems to be successful at that. So there's some randomness in it, and we want to make sure that I think there's kind of a overlap between the urgent and important functions, which just raise priority like a strict number, and the cyclic indicators, which are kind of like a token. I think there's some overlap there. We can bring those two features together, so you can say I want to work on something that is energizing and important, and it will be able to do that. But that's definitely down the way. There's going to be several different ways to select your tasks to be done. Next thing, the Slack integration, BlockKit and the home screen has been interesting. I started there, decided to move over to slash commands because they're a little bit more portable to other clients, and just to try to get a good interface using Slack, using just the slash commands is useful as a way to just kind of prototype things, but it ended up just not being very. I just ended up calling a modal anyway. So I'm going to revisit the slash commands after I get something working with that's like an ideal interface, because right now the slash commands are not kind of where it's at. But SQLite database is working, have a user model all mapped out. I'm kind of taking the MVC approach with the Slack client, so that's kind of a useful pattern, just to be able to break it, because it's not a strict. It's not like a web app, but it's similar to a web app in that you have things coming in over connections and actions, and then you have to process them and return view objects with those in them. So that's been kind of the big development in the Slack side. It's kind of a bit of MVC architecture setup. So I'm definitely working within BlockKit and with the home screen as being kind of the starting point for interacting with the application. And then we will hit the slash commands a little later. And the big goal of using the tool to be able to plan deliverables. But yeah, as I mentioned, I added a feature to it. And so now it's not, the syntax is more up to date than the functionality. So I will hit that shortly. Yes, some point we'll hit React, but Slack should come first, so it's actually usable by people without a website. It definitely when it was all working, it felt really good to have the machine spit out the things I needed to work on. So the core value of it, I think, is undaunted. It's just the surrounding delivering that value is always challenging. Let's see, stuff that's out of my control. Slack has terrible TypeScript support, so I've got a little bit of workaround for that, is to not process all the Slack code using TypeScript. And that's really just the kind of the entry point, the actions and such, and the responses, and so that's pretty isolated. Everything else is all in TypeScript, and of course, the holidays, sick kids, too much time spent not coding. So getting back into it, it's definitely have not been streaming persistently, but now is the time, right? Now is the time. Wow, I haven't done one since Thanksgiving. That's amazing. Applied for some funding, didn't get it. That's fine. Don't need it. Well, yes, need it, but don't want it really. Improvements. Definitely the concept here is stay on task and stay focused, which hopefully the tool can help with. Define the world properly, and have it spit out the things that you should do next. And still it still is a thing. I still have a list of the different tasks to undertake. and the list is shorter and shorter and shorter, and we're almost there to be able to actually try to start having people use this thing, at least at least the basic features will be in place. So you don't have so at least I can see feedback from folks. So that'd be great. Um, yeah, and boring old CRUD is in place. Selection is done. Yeah, so this was written a little while ago, and so just trying to get back on track here. Let's see, so tag spreading. Let's see, so we have our Slack CRUD in place. Subcontext not yet implemented. CLI not even close. Bet landing page not even close. Discord creator program, yeah, gotta get more funding. Get in Discord, that'd be great. That's it. All right. Thank you, Sprint 2. On to Sprint 3. So we'll see where we get to. Something a little more, hopefully a little more solid.